up and a little bit about your childhood. And you can start with that.
Well, I grew up in the northeast of Scotland, Aberdeenshire. Everything in Scotland is shires as opposed to counties and etc. A small village called Fyvie, which was not much bigger than Kronau. There was only 515 people there, and I don't think it has changed much. I grew up, went into the oil patch in 71 with the second rig moved in. Had lots of Americans, Canadians come over and taught us how to drill for oil. And 4 years after that, I decided to come to Canada. I went to Edmonton for 1 year. Then I got transferred to Red Deer, and then I met a girl in Red Deer and landed up being married. We moved to Regina eventually, and she passed away with cancer in 1996. I have now met the lady that I'm with now is named Lois, and we've been together since 2002. Oh, next month is our anniversary. Oh my God.
A little bit to Scotland, and I know that they're famous for their castles there. Did you grow up near any castles or have any close by you?
Oh yeah. Scotland, the capital of Scotland, of course, is Edinburgh. The population, the estimated population last year was 5 million, 5.5 million, pretty close anyway. Castles, pretty well divided into two categories. They're either huge homes or they're battalion castles. And there's not very many battalion castles. The two famous ones, of course, is Edinburgh Castle and the other one being Stirling Castle. The Royal Highland Fusiliers are still based in the castle in Edinburgh, and there are numerous other castles worth going to see other than those two. To name some ones that I like is Glamis Castle, which is kind of in the middle of Scotland. It was where the late Queen Mother was born. Culzean Castle, which is down on the Ayrshire coast, about 20 miles from where Robbie Burns was born. And Robbie actually mentions that castle in a poem called Halloween. Culzean Castle is, I've never been in it, but it's got a reputation over there of being a beautiful castle, meaning that if when you go inside, it's still all the furniture's there from being lived in. It's more like a huge house rather than a castle, a battalion castle. Where I grew up was a little village, Fyvie, as I mentioned, and we have 2 miles from there, we have Fyvie Castle. Well, of course, there's many rumors about that and tales about that castle. It was given up to the National Trust of Scotland in early 90s, I believe, and everything is left as is. And there's tours going on in all of them.
Have you been back there to go through any of the tours since you were
Oh
young?
yeah, I've been through Fyvie Castle a couple of times. I remember as a school kid, my music teacher was Ian Middleton, and the laird that lived in the castle at the time, his daughter was taking music lessons. And himself, he told me, he says, oh, the laird would phone me and say, oh, Ian, I'm going to be late we're in Aberdeen, and it's 25 miles to the castle. He says, we will be a little bit late, but just go in and help yourself to a drink. So he said he would drive up there, and back in those days, you know, lights were supposedly expensive. People didn't leave them on like they do now. And he said he'd drive up, walk into the castle in the dark, put the lights on, and help himself to a drink. But my first primary school teacher was a Miss Leslie. She would not go near that place in the dark because of the rumors and all the tall tales and stuff. So that was kind of funny. But yeah.
Interesting. How was that process, immigrating and things? Did you need to get like?
Well, back in those days, you could pay the British government equivalent now to about £50 or $50. I think it was £10 back then. And you could immigrate to Australia or Canada, and if you came back within that 2 years, you had to pay your fare over and your fare back. But if you stayed for 2 years and over, you did not have to pay the money back to the government. But I was never one to be under anybody's, you have to do this. I paid for my fare over, and if I didn't like it, I was going to go back.
Okay. And so did you come having employment, or did you have to find when you came? So you just came on your own? And
because Britain is very wet, it gets lots of rain. There is very few gravel roads, just up to some farms. But some farms have got they have blacktop on their farm roads. So, but it's very rocky, so it doesn't get muddy like it does around here. And when I came over on the 10th of September. It was a Tuesday. By Thursday, I had a job and a place to live. So I had a pink immigration paper. I went to 4 different hire drive places to hire a car to go and see somebody that I knew that lives up by Shellbrook. They wouldn't rent a car to me. So I saw a sign that said holiday rental. I went to holiday rental, put that in the car, left it in the car. I took out my British license and said, I want to rent a car just for the weekend. This is my license. Oh, certainly, he said. And that's so I drove over to Shellbrook, visited with my friends for a couple of days, and went back and started work.
Certain reason why you chose Kronau to move to?
I had problems with my hips, and I was looking for a place with no stairs.
Okay.
And bungalows were expensive in town. And this was fairly new when we first moved here, so it's ideal. Love it.
Yes, it's a nice community to be in, isn't it?
Oh,